guys, I'm Kyle and I'm the editor-in-chief of Thrifty Traveler, and I'm here to talk to you all about using your Delta SkyMiles. Now, you might have heard some people say that Delta SkyMiles are worthless or even call them SkyPesos. I'm here to tell you that they are dead wrong. Delta SkyMiles are far from worthless. They are frustrating though, and it can be confusing, so I'm here to give you 6 concrete tips that you can use in order to start using your Delta SkyMiles like a pro. Tip number 1, be flexible. If there's one takeaway from this video, this has to be it. Delta uses something called dynamic award pricing. That means that the amount of SkyMiles you need to book a flight from point A to point B can change drastically from day to day, week by week. It can change based on demand or how many empty seats there are on that plane. So the trick to cut through all that, make sure you're getting the absolute best deal, is to use Delta's price calendar when you're searching for flights using your SkyMiles. This allows you to pull up more than a month's worth of availability of flights using your SkyMiles and really zero in on the cheapest dates that you can find in order to book that flight you want. And that brings us to tip number 2. Book Delta SkyMiles flash sales. This is the absolute best way to use your Delta SkyMiles. Because Delta has this kind of unpredictable system for how much a flight should cost using SkyMiles, Delta can cut prices as much as it wants and kind of in an unpredictable way. And that generates some really amazing deals that we are constantly finding here at Thrifty Traveler. We've seen flights as low as 14,000 miles round trip to fly from the United States to Europe. That's a fraction of what most airlines typically charge. We've seen flights to Mexico and the Caribbean for just 10,000 miles round trip. We've even seen, sales on business class cabins, flying Delta One from the United States to Europe and back for under 100,000 SkyMiles recently. These are really some amazing deals, and again, absolutely the best way to use your Delta SkyMiles. You can find more information at thriftytraveler.com/premium. We send our premium members the best of these flash sales. And of course, check out more information below. Tip number 3, book round trip flights. Delta can be a little bit tricky, there's no denying that. And one of the ways that they're tricky is that sometimes they can charge you a lot more by booking one-way flights than you would for a round trip flight. Now that can be a little difficult. Let's say you want to hop around Europe and fly, into Paris and back home from Amsterdam. Well, not only will Delta charge you a bit more in SkyMiles for that flight, but they'll also pass on way more in cash fees. So the trick there is to book a multi-city flight or a round-trip flight in order to A, save on SkyMiles, and B, save on cash fees as well. That's a great way to make sure you get the most bang for your buck. Tip number 4, don't use SkyMiles at all. No, hang with me here. One of the best and cheapest ways to book flights with Delta is using Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. Virgin Atlantic is one of Delta's close partner airlines, and that means you can book flights on Delta planes using Virgin Atlantic miles. So you're not using your SkyMiles here, you're saving them, and you're not transferring SkyMiles to Virgin Atlantic. That's not possible. You're just using Virgin Atlantic miles in order to fly Delta, and the savings can be absolutely enormous. Flying Delta One business class from the United States to Asia can cost 300,000 SkyMiles or more, and you can book that exact same flight using Virgin Atlantic Flying Club miles for just 60,000 miles. It's one of the best bargains in the world of points and miles, and while you're not using your SkyMiles, you're saving a boatload of them. Tip number 5, Fly Partner Airlines. Of course, you can use your Delta SkyMiles to fly on Delta flights, but you can also use SkyMiles to fly on some of the many Delta partner airlines through the SkyTeam Alliance and some of its other partner airlines. And it's a great way to save. That's because while Delta has this kind of unpredictable pricing system where you can pay exorbitant amounts of SkyMiles for their own flights, the rates when you're flying with partner airlines is much more stable. Generally it's 25,000 miles to fly one way from the United States to Europe on one of these partner airlines in economy. 32,500 miles to fly United States to Asia on one of these partner airlines. It's far more stable and it's often far more cheaper. So make sure you read more of our articles on thriftytraveler.com for how to zero in on some of these partner flights. And tip number 6, focus on flights Don't focus on the extras. Again, Delta is getting really tricky with some of this stuff, and they're allowing you to use your SkyMiles for things other than booking flights. You can buy cabin upgrades to upgrade to Comfort Plus or business or first class. You can use your SkyMiles to even pay for baggage now. Delta wants to start giving people the option of paying for Lyft rides with their Delta SkyMiles. And in general, it's just not a good deal. You're much better off saving those SkyMiles for a flight. Even if you only have a few thousand or 10,000 or whatever, save those SkyMiles for a flight down the line. You never know when the next deal is going to come up, and you're going to get much more value out of your SkyMiles by booking a trip rather than paying for baggage. With these 6 tips, guys, you're going to start using Delta SkyMiles like a pro. Make sure you read more information on thriftytraveler.com about all the ways that you can use Delta SkyMiles well. And like and subscribe to our channel to keep seeing more of our videos on how you can start traveling more for less.